Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Home of Politics. It's my pleasure to have you in this channel, and if you're here for the first time, remember to subscribe, click on the notification button so that when I upload a video in this channel, you remain informed. Also, like the video, leave a comment in the comment section and share it widely so that it can be viral. Ladies and gentlemen, we have witnessed the various changes in the government, whereby we have just realized that the president has formed new state departments on top of those which were existing. There are 52 in numbers, and right now we have another new state departments. And so, my good people, we don't know if this one is going to affect us positively or negatively, but they believe they know better, and they are shaping this nation by forming such positions. And so, without much ado, let us see those state departments and the changes that have been made. The first state department is the State Department for Children Welfare Services. It is under the ministry. It is under the Ministry of Labor, and it has been reassigned to someone called Karen Angengo Achieng. We have another state department. It is called State Department for Special Program under the Ministry of Public Service, and it has been assigned to Ismail Madini. We also have the State Department for Research, Science, Research and Innovation, and it is under the Ministry of Education. Remember, Ministry of Education used to have another 3 independent state departments, but it have been added another one. We also have State Department for Aviation and Aerospace Development, and it is under the Ministry of Road and Transport, which it have been assigned to Abdul Zarak Shaukut. Then we also have the State Department for Justice, Human Rights and Constitutional Affairs under the Office of Attorney General, which is assigned to Judith Pareno. We also have the State Department for National Government Coordination under the Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, and it have been reassigned to Ahmed Abdul Nassan Ibrahim. Finally, we have the State Department for Public Investment and Asset Management. It is under Ministry of Treasury and Economic Planning, which have been given to Cyril Wagunda Odede. Mentioning all those state departments, it have been created with various intentions, ladies and gentlemen, and we have witnessed reshuffles, replacement, others losing their positions, while other new positions have been created only to accommodate some individuals in this government. And mark you should not forget that this all is happening after the signing of the MOU, contract between the president and the leader of opposition, Raila Odinga. And so we have witnessed so many people under the influence of Raila Odinga, or those people who are in the circle of Odinga, benefiting immensely with several tenders and things that are coming out in the government. And it is specifically for ODM, not everyone that is in the circle of Raila Odinga. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we can find out that there are some close relation that is existing between the memoranda of understanding that was signed by these two party leaders and these positions that have been formed. For example, ladies and gentlemen, we had the 10 key points under the memoranda of understanding that was signed by these two leaders. And amongst the 10 key points, some of them have been achieved halfway, others have not yet, and we are seeing the signs of achieving them. And so we will draw our analysis from the top, or the 10 key points from that memorandum of understanding. We had the point that says protecting and promoting livelihood of young people. So under that memorandum of understanding, we had that key note that was there, and we can relate that we have a state department that have been formed that is called State Department for Children Welfare Services, which is under the Ministry of Labor, and it is being headed by Karen Ang'eng'o Acheng. So ladies and gentlemen, it can be deliberately said that these positions have been formed to favor some people or to create space for people who are allies to Raila Odinga, and more specifically to implement the memorandum of understanding, so that whenever you raise a question, maybe it is drawn to that whereby a signature and official seal of the president and the party leader Raila Odinga has been closed, and that the deal is now sweet. And so protecting and promoting the livelihood of the young people. So it means that this thing was not being done before maybe Raila Odinga came in. It is true that we have had the human rights officers, champions who have been advocating for rights and freedom of the citizens of Kenya. Apart from that, we have been seeing different bodies handling issues to do with things that are against human rights and protecting the livelihoods of the young people. There are also associations that are also responsible for catering for these things. But why has it been deliberately reformed that a State Department for Children Welfare Services under the Ministry of Labor and install a new person there? Obviously, there must be a loophole whereby this issue must go hand in hand, because since they signed it, it is not maybe a crime or what, because they are just using the prior document to do more changes and creating position in the government. After all, Raila Odinga said that Raila Odinga was called by Ruto. It is not himself who took his people to who? To the president. And so we should understand that these two people are collaborating, but more important, you should understand that there is a correlation between the positions that are being created, the documents or the memoranda that they signed, and other things that have been happening. We also have the point that was describing about the national debt, whereby the debt was described, and they said that these debts should be witnessed and they should account for how much they are borrowing, and during the payment it should also be very clear that there such and such amount is going to be paid. And so that one, we also see we have another one, they should stop the wastage of public resources and promote government efficiency. Ladies and gentlemen, if you can refer to this state department that have been formed, we have this office that have been created called the State Department for Public Investment and Asset Management, which is under the Ministry of National Treasury and Economic Planning, which is being headed by Cyril Wagunda Odede. We know that every finance that is being used in Kenya, it must be approved and it should be released by it should be officialized, and it comes from the treasury. And so if they have also formed an office that is concerned with managing things in the treasury, then we see that there's a relationship between this memorandum of understanding with the offices that they have been formed. And so again, there is a contradiction here about stop wastage of public resources and promoting government efficiency in that memorandum of understanding. Yet we know all these new offices that have been created, we need funds to run them. For example, approximation of the salary of a PS who is heading one or these departments, we can find out that they are earning a salary of up to even 800,000, and this amounts to almost 10 million in a year, and that is a lot of money. That one is just salary in a year. You've not added things to do with the benefits, you've not added things to do with the insurance, the car that they should be using, maybe medical cover, other benefit, maybe retire benefit, and other things on top of it. You've not summed up all the the funds that should be used in establishing these offices. Apart from analyzing maybe the salary or remuneration that the PS should be receiving, the PS also needs his own staff in his offices. For example, he cannot be the one boss alone who is running and handling everything in that office. He needs staffing all the way from the cleaner, from everybody, for it to be called an office, or something to do with arranging the organization and well-being of an office. Everything should be there, and we need money. And so if we are coming here to see in the office of the PS, it needs a lot of fund to be established. Then we are being told by the memoranda that was signed between these two leaders that they are signing this memoranda, or they are coming to work together as two leaders, opposition and the government, in order to stop wastage of public resources and ensure that it is promoting government efficiency. Yet, we are witnessing a lot of billions of money that will be allocated in running these offices and creation of more spaces for their own specific people, not for every common Kenyan that is needing that job or that money. Then we wonder and ask ourselves if really this one is hypocritical, it is just a mere mockery or not, or we are not understanding about how they are going to make sure they are not wasting the public resources. For example, maybe many youths who lack employment, they can be employed with that salary of that PS, so many of them, because that one is merely more than 10 million in a year, and that's a lot of money. And so if you sum up all together the expenses that should be used in these offices, then it is barely a very big amount of money that it is going again to the taxpayers' money. That one is on our burden to pay these PSs that have been brought in the office. Maybe it is a good thing to do that they have thought, but in one way or another there is a burden that will be added. And so, my good people, we also see that this formation and creation of new positions, reshuffling of the people who have been in their offices, and also replacement of other people who have been in their offices, it is bringing about something to do with the relationship with Raila Odinga. For example, we have noted key people who are very close to Raila Odinga and the ODM party who have been replaced or been given positions. For example, we have Caroline Karugu. These are PS under the EAC, and he has been given that position. But if you follow more closely, there is a relationship between these two people, whereby this Caroline Karugu was one of the people who was very vocal and steering in front line during the campaigning of Raila Odinga's AU chairmanship, and maybe she has been rewarded because of the good job that she did during when he was fighting as an AUC chair. We also see that we have another leader called Judith Pareno, who is the PS under the Justice and Human Rights. And if you can follow closely in the previous relationship or on his previous political career, she was under ODM party, and she was among the board chair of ODM party. And so following that relationship, it means that Raila's people have been immensely benefited with these new positions and creation of offices that have been recently witnessed. Finally, we have somebody called Fikirini Jacobs. Fikirini Jacob is a very young youth from Kilifi, and he is barely 27 years. He is one of the PS whom he has been given Youth Affairs Office, and if you follow closely, he is one of the youths who have been mobilizing people in ODM party in Kilifi and Coastal region. And so he is amongst the leader who was running a position in ODM called Youth Leaders in Kilifi. And so he has been rewarded, and we see they are benefiting people close to Raila Odinga. Ladies and gentlemen, my point here is to bring you a close relation that has been existing between the signing in of the Memoranda of Understanding and the offices or the new positions that have been created in the government recently. Do you have any concern or any different opinion about this analysis? Please share with me in the comment section. But just know that the issue of this memoranda about telling us they are oversighting the government, they are ensuring that there is no wastage of public resources and the government should be efficient in its working, that one is kinaya or opposite, because we are witnessing that in everything to be functioning in the government, we must have finance, resources, money, and it is our tax, and we are the one who are providing. But we don't know if you are seeing it in a negative angle. But please share with me in the comment section your opinions about the move of the president to create a new position in the government, yet we see we have a lot of burdens to tackle. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good day.